You also have found that maybe you need extra reporting capabilities, maybe you need extra management capabilities. So the OpenLM extensions give you just that. So let's go over them. We'll go over all the major ones, and I'll show you what they can give you and how. So first of all, you know the Openlm interface. This is the usual Openlm interface. Now, let's say that you want to get notified about certain details in the Openlm interface, in the Openlm system. Let's say that you want to get notified when certain things happen to the server, when certain conditions are met. So for that, we have the Openlm Alerts extension, which if you click Start Administration Alerts Management, you'll be able to see. Now, going over this real quick, you can see that first of all, the action can be to send an email, send an SMS, run a broker command. And the conditions that you can set are all laid out here. You see that you can send yourself an email if the license server is not responding. You can get an email when usage has gone over a certain percentage. Here it's 90, but you can set it to whatever you want. When a duplicate license was used, for example, 2 versions of the same applications or 2 processes of the same application on the same machine. You can get notified when a license is about to expire. For example, you can get notified 2 weeks before the license is expired. You can get notified if you have a user with no default group or project. So if everything is airtight on your system, it comes from the Active Directory, then no user should be without a group or without a project. So this will enable you to know that, hey, there's some unauthorized usage of the system. Also, you can get notified once a user has a session duration for, here it's over 600 minutes, but you can set it for whatever you want. Let's say that you have a user who is using 12 hours, and you probably want to release his license, close his workstation. You want to get the license back in the pool, because 12 hours, that's more than a day's work. Meaning that probably he forgot it on his open on his workstation. So you'll be able to know that and close. So also you can get notified once a maximum number of denials goes over a certain threshold. For example, if I have 1,000 denials in the span of 1 minute, then I'd want to know, I'd want to get notified, because something is wrong. Nobody's getting licenses. Now this is one of the useful extensions that we have. You can get notified yourself, but you can also notify the involved user. You don't have to only you get it. But let's move on to our next extension. We have the Options File Management extension, which allows you to create options files. For those of you who don't know, options file is a file that FlexLM uses, which mainly FlexLM, which enables you to define who will get how many licenses, who will be which part of which group, and who will be excluded from using certain licenses. So that report, that file, is really complicated. It has a special syntax that you have to obey by. It is very prone to human error, because one mistake and all the file changes and all the file is irrelevant. So OpenLM gives you an interface that creates those exact option files. So let's see what we have here. If you click preview, we see that this is an options file, for example. You see that I have a few groups inside we have users, and you see that it's very jumbled. It's almost, you cannot understand it. Now, this is why it's very prone to errors. So if you use the Openlm interface, when you want to reserve, for example, a few licenses for a certain group, so you can just select here the feature, and we can add a certain user, or maybe if we want, we can add a certain group. Here you see I've added UK marketing, and I've reserved 5 licenses to them, included, excluded them, can do pretty much whatever you want within the confines of the options file. So you see all the options available in the options file, all the policies. So you got the reserved, included, excluded, borrow, just about everything. So let's add group UK sales. Let's add them. And let's say that we reserve 6 licenses to UK sales. So let's save that. And now that we preview, we see all the changes that we did. They are added right here. UK sales reserve 6 in viewer. So once this is done, you can just click deploy, and it deploys all the changes to the server remotely. The next extension that I want to go over, I'm just gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna show its configurations. So we have the roles extension. The roles extension allows you to set different criteria to different users. You can set, for example, management to be able to see certain reports, and users to be able to see only what they need to see, their specific server or whatever you want them to see. Another extension is the Ldap extension, which allows you to get all your users and groups from your Active Directory. So how can you do that? First of all, you select the node that you want to synchronize, and then you have a few synchronization options. You can either just pull all the users as they are without any groups, or you can have like a flat group, meaning that all the users inside that node will get that name, that group name. You can have it as a hierarchy, meaning that it gathers all the OUs, all the security groups, distribution groups, and everything, and creates groups according to those OUs, to those nodes. But also you can create groups using user attributes. For example, department. You can set groups of users to get grouped in OpenLM by their department. So if I have the department sales in my Active Directory, so every other user in that node that is under department sales also has that column in the Active Directory, then we will be in the same group. You can also do it by pattern using regular expression, which is a new thing. And that's about it. The ways to get groups into OpenLM are threefold. First, you can use the Active Directory, as I've shown you here, the Ldap extension. Secondly, you can use the options file. You can curate groups in the options file, and they will be integrated into OpenLM. And lastly, you can do it manually. Simply open the Openlm Interface, start users and groups, and you just create a new group. Add group, just create a new one, and add the users into it. Now, I want to go over all the capabilities of the Openlm Agent. Up until now, you've seen extensions which can be called basic extensions. Now we're going over to the more advanced extensions, and some of them, most of them, use the Openlm Agent. So first of all, what is the Openlm Agent? Some of you probably don't know about the agent. The Openlm Agent is the agent component that Openlm puts on the workstation itself. Once it's on the workstation, it can give you a lot of insight regarding what's going on with the licenses themselves. So I have a workstation right here. I will pull an AutoCAD license, and let's just let it get pulled and let the application open. Meanwhile, I will explain all the different tiers that the Openlm Agent has. So the first tier is the core tier, which allows your users to get the agent user interface. Now, that is not an extension, so it's not a part of this webinar. But what it enables you to do is to get notified once a license was released. Let's say that I want to pull a license, but I get denied. So instead of me trying to pull the license again, and again, I'll just get notified. The agent will tell me, hey, the license that you've been trying to get has become free. You can pull it. So this is a part of the core product. You can even use it now if you have the OpenLM Core without any extensions. The next tier of the agent is is actual usage. Now, what is actual usage? Let's say that you have a user who is using the application, opened the application, maybe worked for a little bit, but then just became idle, meaning that it didn't work anymore on the application itself. It remained open, the license remained pulled, but he didn't work on the application. So OpenLM enables you to get the idle time for that session. For example, if you take a look here, you see the recent app idle time period, which stands on 58 seconds. Now I have Autodesk open here, as we did. We've opened Autodesk, but it's minimized. It's now idle. So it's starting to track the idle time for that application. Now, once you know the idle time of it, you can set a idle time threshold to close the application once it has gone over a certain threshold of idle time. So let's say that you set the condition to be if the application is idling for more than 1 hour, more than 2 hours, just close the application. Now, when you close the application, you release the license. That's one thing. The second thing, the application is being closed. The third thing is that data is being saved in a file that you define here, in a folder that you define in the interface, in the Easy Admin interface. Now, once you define where it should go, it saves it, just saves it there once it's closed. But you're also able to close that manually. For example, if I click here on Close App, then a transmission will go to the workstation itself, asking the application to shut down. So this takes about a minute until it works, but then it shuts down the application itself. So I just want to stress out that in order to close the application itself, you'll need to use the Save and Close extension of OpenLM, which is available only for AutoCAD, ArcGIS, SolidWorks, MATLAB. The rest can use suspension, which suspends the process itself. And also, we have the OpenLM App Manager, which allows you to track applications which are not managed by a license manager. So let's see that. Let's see the App Manager in action. So here we can see all the different applications which I can track. Now, what does the App Manager do? The App Manager allows you to track either applications which do not use a license manager at all, or applications which have a license, but it's a hybrid form of license. What is a hybrid license? A hybrid license is, let's say that you have floating licenses, but you also have named licenses. You also have node locked licenses. You have many types of different licenses, and together they are the hybrid licenses that you have. So you want to be able to track all of them. You see that I have a few here. I have Adobe for Photoshop. I have Autodesk that tracks not only my floating license pool, but my named license pool. So why is that good? Why should I want to track that? Let's say that I have some people in the floating license pool, and I have some people in the named license pool. So in the named license pool, how do I know if they're using the application? Maybe I have 20 named licenses, but only one person uses it. Or maybe all of them use only 1 hour of the day or 1 hour of the week. How do I know? If so, then they should not have a named license. They should have a floating license. Can put them in the floating license pool. Now, this gives you a lot of monitoring capabilities, but also it gives you an option to have managerial capabilities over those applications. Now, what does that mean? We'll go to the license consumption rules right here, and we see a few rules and a few conditions as well. Now, let's say that I want to restrict users in USA to only work in USA times, in UK to only work in USA working times. So I'm able to do that if, for example, I choose the normal USA working hours. I tell it that if it's before 5 and after 9, then deny the application from being opened. So now we save that. Let's see that in action. I have Autodesk here, AutoCAD. I'm going to try and open it. And before I even get the splash screen of AutoCAD, before it opens, I get a notification telling me that application AutoCAD cannot be launched, access denied due to normal USA working hours rule. So let's go there, normal USA working hours rule. Because it's after 9 and before 5, this is my local time. So deny the application. Let's say that we don't deny, we'll allow it. So now when we try to open the application, to activate the application, we get a license and we're able to activate the application. Now, what can you do with it? First of all, you can set conditions by time, as I said, but you can set conditions, for example, to enable only users of Autodesk to use version 2017 or 2018 or whatever you have in your policy. So you can deny anybody who's not version 2017, or you can set certain groups to be able to open only Autodesk and not Navisworks or not something else in that package. You're also able to set the user, workstation, or group that you want to implement the condition on. And lastly, you can have many different rules. So you can create more rules and get more refined conditions. So if that, then that. If that, then deny. If this, then allow. So it can get very complex, and you can get do pretty much whatever you want with it. As you can control, let me show you. Control time, which application, which username will use it, the workstation, which group, which version, or which vendor the engineer will use. So the license consumption policies is something that you can change with the App Manager. For example, first of all, you can set the limit. So if anyone goes over the limit, he will not be able to open the application. Now, it's not floating licenses, it's named licenses. This way, you'll be able to see if someone logs in to the system using an old username, maybe a wrong license file, just unauthorized usage, and he will be blocked because he will go over the limit. Also, you can deny multiple versions from being pulled. So if someone is, if your policy is, for example, Autodesk 2017, then you can deny multiple versions and they will only be able to pull 2017 at the same time. You can also set to return the license when the workstation is hibernating. So if it goes into hibernate or sleep mode, it just releases the license for that application. Now, next I want to move on to the Openlm Reporting Hub extension. Now, the Openlm Reporting Hub allows you to get visualizations, dashboards, and pretty much better and more customized reports from Openlm, from the Openlm system. Now, most of you probably have Openlm, have seen the core reports that Openlm has to offer, but it's not enough. I know it's not enough. Usually, users, they use it, they're happy with it, but they have something more that they want. I want to know my utilization a bit differently. I want to know the session number and extrapolate numbers from that. I want to know the average concurrent, and I want to calculate new field. So the Openlm Reporting Hub allows you to do just that. You'll be able to create dashboards like the one you're seeing here, and simply by dragging and dropping different fields and columns into place. You'll also be able to create new measures and new columns and get the information that you need, the exact information that you need. So what are we seeing here? First of all, you can see here, this is an interactive report. You're seeing the Power BI desktop application. This is not an OpenLM application. It's a third-party application of Microsoft. You can use any BI software you have. If you have Tableau, if you have Qlik, doesn't matter. But we give out our samples with Power BI Desktop. Now, what's so good about it? Why not simply use the OpenLM reports? Well, first of all, the OpenLM reports are very limited. They cannot be modified beyond filtering. The Reporting Hub allows you to do pretty much whatever you want. You can go wild. Let me show you. Let's create a new report. Let's say that we want to know session duration according to users. So you'll see how simple it is. I just created a new bar chart here. I'll go to username inside user dimension. Just drag it inside. That's it. And then I said that I want the session duration. So I go to usage time right here. Drag it in there. I can sort it by usage time. And then I can see each user and his session duration. Now, of course, I can filter it by date, for example. Here I have a date chooser. I can filter it even by the license server, by the feature, by pretty much whatever I want. I can choose a certain server here, for example. And I don't have to see it by user. Let's say that I want to see the groups, and I want to be able to drill down within those groups. For example, here I see all my groups, and I want to drill down inside one group and see which users are in that group. So I just click here and I drill down and I see all the users from that group. I can also add the workstation if I want to have another drill down. I can see all the different features even. If let's drill down there and I see all the different features and the session duration for each one. Now this can be done on all the dimensions and measures that you find in OpenLM. For example, your dimensions are time dimension, group dimension, license dimension, which holds all the details about the license, the feature, server, vendor, version, everything. Package dimension, you get the user dimension, which holds everything about the user, username, his office, display name, everything, department. You can get a workstation dimension as well. Now, these are the dimensions. This is something that you can measure by. So what are the measures? The measures that you can get are concurrent usage, quantity, license quantity, session duration, idle time duration, and denials, which are pretty much all the different measures that OpenLM has. So you see here, for example, that I created a new field, a new measure. This might look kind of complicated, but it's just an if-else. It's just a formula of Excel. If you use Excel formulas, so this is just the same. You see max and everything is just about the same. Now with this you can create any different column that you want. Here, for example, I have maximum utilization. I take the concurrent measure, the maximum concurrent usage, and I divided it by the license quantity. And quite easily, I came up with these reports that all use the utilization. For example, here I have a heat map of utilization by features. I have license utilization by time, percentage of utilization, just about everything that you want. Now, how does it work and how is it structured? The Openlm Reporting Hub is actually an ETL engine. It's a data engine that gets data from the source OpenLM database. May it be the embedded Firebird or MySQL or MSSQL, whatever. It runs each night on the source database, gets the data to a reporting database, which is a much more structured and organized database. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why can't I just query the OpenLM, the original OpenLM database, the source database? Why do I need the ETL and why do I need to query the reporting database? Well, because inside the OpenLM database, you have almost nothing that you need. You have the sessions, you don't have session duration, you don't have concurrent usage, you barely have quantity, denials is tricky to get. You have a lot of different criteria that you need in order to get those columns, but OpenLM database is structured to fit the easy admin. It's structured to fit the Openlm interface itself. It's not structured for use in a BI software. It's not structured for any human hands. So the reporting hub is structured just like that, and it's structured easily, as you've seen, in a measure and dimension structure, which is very simple, very self-explanatory and user-friendly. And if you use a BI on it, you can just drag and drop different columns, create any report that you want. You can even use Excel, just connect Excel to the reporting database, and then you get your database, which is already pre-compiled, pre-processed, and you get all the data that you need, everything. Now let's say that you were able to get data from the OpenLM database, source database, let's say, but then you upgraded. We change the database on every upgrade. Sometimes we change tables, sometimes we add tables, we subtract tables. The reporting hub ensures that the database, the reporting database that you have, will always have the same structure. Always. With every version upgrade, you will not have to upgrade the ETL. The structure will stay the same, the resulting structure. Now, this is about it for the OpenLM extensions. We've gone over this for like 40 minutes. I don't want to overload you with information. I just want to go over, in general, in broad strokes, in general terms, over the extensions that I've showed you. So first, we've seen the alerts extension that enables you to get notified when certain criteria are met. The roles extension, roles and permission, which allows you to set different views to different groups of users in OpenLM. So management will be able to see one thing, admins will see another thing, and end users will see a limited amount of what they need to see. Also, we've seen the options file management right here, which allows you to create complicated options files easily using the interface, using just selecting and different groups, different users, features, that's it. Another extension that we saw is the OpenLM, is the actual usage extension, which gives you the idle time for a certain session. So you'd know what's going on with the license itself, if it's actually being used or maybe it's just have been pulled and that's it. We've also seen that we have the active agent extension, which saves any progress and closes the application. And we've seen the app manager, which allows you to first of all, monitor applications which do not have a floating license, might have any form of hybrid license, meaning named or node-locked license. And also, you'll be able to track any application, meaning Excel, Adobe, any application, even without a license, you'll be able to track it using the App Manager and set, as we've seen, different conditions for opening the application, for pulling the license. So as we've seen, you can set the conditions on time, on groups, on versions, on applications, just about everything. And lastly, we saw the Openlm Reporting Hub, which, as we said, enable you to do pretty much anything with your data. You can create different functions, you can create different reports, different aggregations, different filtering, whatever you choose. You can use any BI software on it. You just connect to the database, get the data, and that's it. Or you can even use simple Excel files to connect to it, whatever you choose. But anyway, these are the extensions of OpenLM, and you probably see how they can expand the usage of OpenLM, how it can expand the benefit that OpenLM gives you, either by managing your applications better, monitoring your applications better, monitoring different types of applications, or simply getting better reports, more statistical insights, and pretty much any report that you choose. So thank you very much. This has been the extensions presentation of OpenLM. If you would like to try out the extensions, get an evaluation period of the extension for 30 days, you can contact the sales team at sales@openlm.com. They will tell support to contact you and help you to implement and install the new extensions and start you off on your extension period. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, I'm here for the next 5 minutes. You can ask whatever you want. You can ask either via the chat, the GoToMeeting chat, or you can ask just simply using your microphone, but notice if you are muted or not. So thank you. Thank you very much.